Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live reaction here on the Matt and John Make a Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for everybody for watching. We had a lot of wrestling tonight. We had NXT Takeover 30, as well as the AEW Dynamite, which obviously is on Wednesdays, but due to playoff was tonight. So we watched at least the first half hour or so of Dynamite, and then we got in the NXT Takeover, and then after NXT Takeover, we finished watching Dynamite, and now here we are. So right now, first, we're going to talk about NXT Takeover right off the bat and get into Dynamite at the end. And just to prepare yourselves, John is going to go off on AEW Dynamite.
None too happy to,
especially the main event. But that's then, this is now. And NXT Takeover usually always delivers on these takeovers. And in my opinion, and I'm sure John will agree, this is no different.
Nope.
Real quick, before we get into the main card, we get the pre-show. I was watching during Dynamite. Just real quick, Brizongo versus Legado, Del Fantasma versus Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Brizongo getting the win. New number one contenders against Imperium. And we're not going to talk about it since John didn't see it because we're watching Dynamite. Blah 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 blah. So the main card starts. We open up with Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher, with Finn Balor getting the win with the 1916 DDT. I thought this was a good match. It wasn't your flying and high flying. This is ground and pound submission type of match, which I always appreciate. It's like the oddity in wrestling nowadays. A lot of people were impressed with how Finn Balor adapted his style to Timothy Thatcher's, and I kind of agree. I think it's a decent opener. We thought the ladder match would start, but decent match between these two. I had no real complaints about this match. What say you, John?
Yeah, it was fine for what it was. I didn't think personally that this really needed to be on the show, but I will say though that this was before I found out, and for the both of us, we thought that there was going to be a cruiserweight title match, but
unless I'm stupid,
unless we are stupid, they either kicked that off or this was never a part of the show. Which
maybe I imagine it, but I swear it was part of it.
Yeah, I swear to you, I thought it was on the show, and there was going to be 6 matches, but this match it really didn't feel like that it really needed to actually happen. I mean, yeah, obviously Thatcher he cost Finn Balor a chance to be in the 6-man ladder match for the vacant North American title, but I just was not interested in this thing, and that isn't to say that it was anything bad. It was just there for me. I have never been a very big Timothy Thatcher fan. It's just like his style and just his overall charisma just never really intrigued me. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, Finn going over had to happen here. You aren't going to have him lose here, especially too since he was pinned over on NXT on Wednesday night. So yeah, nothing else to really add here.
And then speaking of the ladder match, that was the next match. between Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, and the Velveteen Dream.
Easily match of the night. This was pretty much everything that I expected to. I love how they booked Bronson Reed like a freaking monster in this match. Probably the only guy in this match who didn't get his ass kicked from start until finish. Johnny is going to be very sore.
He killed him.
Johnny took some insane bumps. Velveteen, he jumped from or like he was like ricocheted from the ladder to the outside tables outside of the barricades. And Bronson Reed squashing Johnny like a freaking fly was probably
with Candace on his back.
With Candace on his back was probably my favorite spot of the match there. Just a very fun, very entertaining match. A car crash.
Yeah. There were some creative spots in this ladder match that you think you see it all. They come up with new ones. That Bronson Reed spot with the splash, even though you've seen splashes, but how it's done.
It looks so impactful too, because Johnny got all of that body weight like right across his chest. I was like, that was really good. That looked really cool. And like honestly, I thought he was going to actually win here at one point, but then obviously they went with Damian Priest here, which I'm perfectly fine with. The only person I did not want to win was either Dream or McGrath. Which if Dream won, the internet would have lost their shit. I mean, hell, I even saw someone from like Pittsburgh who was threatening to basically never watching NXT again, and he would have been sent to the old crossroads as like Mikey and like a Big Bob would say, but
that nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, if you are
from Pittsburgh,
if you are from Pittsburgh, but yeah, I cannot complain about this thing. I'm trying to think if there was anything small that we could really, if we could really nitpick about this.
I don't know,
but I don't think that there's. I mean, like there wasn't anything.
At least I can't remember,
because too even with the one spot where they had everyone towered up for the group suplex, like that was so smooth and so quick.
Yeah, it wasn't like wait.
No,
let's everybody get in position. Right. Is everybody ready?
Especially on Raw and SmackDown, and especially on Dynamite. Like that thing is a chore to like watch because it takes a stall of 5 to 7 seconds to have everyone who's ready and blah. It just it just
another spot that was creative was Bronson Reed had the ladder. He had his head in between the ladder, and he's doing the stuff. But then Johnny Gargano hits the one final beat DDT with him in the ladder. So the rung of the ladder is like it hits him in the face, which I thought was creative.
Right.
Another maybe a nitpick thing is near the end when I think it was Johnny and Cameron Grimes on the ladder, and title swings. They both duck, and Cameron Grimes comes up and hits him.
He looks like such an idiot there.
Like, I don't buy that spot. That happens before. That's happened before.
I'm like, it doesn't weigh like 20 pounds or
it wasn't coming. Pounds. It wasn't coming in at 20 miles per hour.
Right. It just like that just looked really silly to me. But that's probably the only spot I hated.
Big nitpick. Yes.
Yeah, that
I can remember.
Yeah, like that looked really dumb there. But all in all, really good match. Damian Priest finally gets his win, and he did a high spot when he was out celebrating. Jumps into a freaking hot
Sean Ross Sapp.
Sean Ross Sapp with the tweet of the night.
High spot ending in with his leather pants or whatever.
That was freaking great. So I gotta think with for his first feud, the only logical name to me is Bronson Reed, because if you recall, Matt, he has a pin and fall victory over Damian Priest on Wednesday. That seems like to me probably where they're going for the first feud there.
Seems logical to me.
Seems logical, and to me, with how they have booked Bronson Reed, would not surprise me if he's an eventual title feud for obviously for Karrion Kross, and we'll obviously get into that here.
Well, yeah, and I think the first one, not to go off track, but I think the first fight with Kross, if it's not a rematch with Lee,
Ciampa,
because he's the one that took him out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's obvious, and that's a rematch there, which I'm all fine with. So, like you said, Damian Priest is your new NXT North American champion.
Right.
Then we get the pleasant surprise of the night. Adam Cole and Pat McAfee, with McAfee pretty damn good in his debut match. All that training's paid off, and having Adam Cole there really helps. This is probably one of the most impressive debuts of an outside sport celebrity.
Needless to say, compared to Tyson Fury's debut, this was so much better. You could really tell how seriously that Pat took this year. Just how he was selling, how he was constantly in the correct spots. He's showing his athleticism here, and obviously having Cole there to kind of guide through everything. Was just extremely well done. So I mean, like, I still hate that they did it just because it was so last second. And yes, like it had been built up kind of for a few weeks, but they didn't actually do anything. Yeah, with the actual match until until 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I mean, so I'm just judging this just strictly upon the actual match. It was really good. I would not be opposed in having Pat continuing to actually wrestle, which apparently this is something that he has been preparing himself for quite some time,
or wanting to have.
Yeah, because I was listening to Triple H on First Take, basically saying that basically one of the other reasons why Pat retired from the NFL was to pursue a career in professional wrestling, because it was always something he really wanted to actually do. And it was like him finding out that basically after you are 30, that becoming just basically stop some recruiting you, or so we thought. So which yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your.
But so you could just tell how much of a fan he was, how seriously he took this, and that's something I can really appreciate. Even though I did not agree with putting him up against Adam Cole, but at the same time too, it gives you a reason to care about this, because it is up against such a freaking big name. But I still stand by what I said, that it should not have happened this soon. With everything.
Well, and then the Adam Cole won, no shenanigans. I mean, there was outside stuff. It didn't cost.
No.
It was still good. He won with the Panama Sunrise.
I mean, like, I
Canadian Destroyer.
nearly did a freaking high spot off my freaking
You
couch.
almost fell off.
I almost felt like
I thought you were gonna have a heart attack.
a Canadian Destroyer, a Panama Sunrise finished a wrestling match. Like, it just it doesn't happen too often. So, I was really happy about that. I was like, that was perfect. Like, I'm very hard pressed to really criticize this match.
Here's a quote, because Triple H does post takeover phone call conference, whatever. Here's in regards to Pat McAfee here, which I thought was hilarious.
Mhm.
I think with Pat, one of the first times I've ever met him, he looked at me and said, "I want to be a weapon for you and grab it and utilize. I want to be a talent." I thought he meant as an announcer, but he didn't. Pat has every intention of doing this and being not just an NXT superstar, but when the time is right, a WWE superstar. He has a lot of other commitments, from his podcast to everything else he does. He has a lot of commitments across the board, but he's very serious about this. We'll see where it goes. When we first talked about this process from the in-ring, having the match idea, he said to me, "Let's remember this phone call when you do my Hall of Fame speech." Pat doesn't lack confidence.
No, and definitely he has the charisma, has the personality. So, and on top of that, unlike with a ton of other people, he brings a like outside audience, the casual audience help. I've had friends who rarely talk about professional wrestling who are trash talking me all this week about this match, and that was the main thing they were looking forward to. So like he's going to bring in that audience, and so
At the ESPN,
exactly, and
local radio,
exactly. If you are Vince, if you are Triple H, that is intriguing to you because he's going to bring in with that sports crowd, with everything he has going on with his podcast, top of that. So it's something that they can definitely
I wouldn't be
utilize.
surprised if maybe again, I don't know how the insides work here, but if you see WWE give a clip of that match to like ESPN to show like on Sports Center or something, or one of their talk
It's
shows,
gonna happen. Yeah.
like you know how they could put out thing via WWE Network and stuff like that, and just give them all those highlights and stuff to do. Business wise, genius.
Yep.
It gets people talking.
And more importantly, it gets Adam Cole out there as well because and now I can kind of understand why they picked Adam Cole, is because he can really work with anybody, and I think that was finally clear here. But it just, there's a ton of factors that make a ton of sense, even though I think that whole thing was set up very last second, and such, but the execution of the actual match itself, and for how little time that they had, I mean, Pat's promo on Wednesday, it sold me. Like, honestly, this was the one match on the card I was really excited about just because of that promo. I mean, like, just from that alone, man, he is so much better on the microphone than a ton of guys, and like, you could tell he had zero script there. Like, that felt so real, just like nothing. He was constantly figuring out, okay, what do I say? What's my line here? You know, and that's where the best wrestling is done, is when you're not forcing these guys to try and just choreograph shit and just make it feel real. And I just wish that the company would do this more, because here you can produce something really cool and like really fun here. And that was the main thing I took away from this. It was just a very fun match. And I highly recommend this to anyone here. So yeah, so yeah, can't really complain. I'm very good job by both guys too.
Then we get the NXT Women's Title match: Dakota Kai versus Io Shirai. with Io retaining. Um, Before what happens at the end of the match, after the match, what did you think of this? I thought it was a good match between the two. I mean, again, there's no really bad matches on this card. I think it was a solid match with these two.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like the problem with this match was you never really thought.
Crowder was going to win.
Yeah, just like and just solely off of the whole entire build for this. Like outside of one small beatdown she had a month ago, I mean, like she was basically getting her ass kicked. Like hell, even for the number one contenders match that she was in, she was getting her ass kicked through a lot of that match. So that was my problem. It's like I never was fully invested in this because any sort of like near falls, I wasn't buying. I wasn't invested because you just knew she had no chance in this match. And to me, the person if she was in this match, she looked way more intimidating was obviously Raquel here. Um,
And
and you could tell they're setting her up. Um, is they're setting her up for an eventual for an eventual singles run, which she already do a lot there. So I'm perfectly fine
and
with that. But it just did not help with this feud though.
and we get a tease of that because after the match, Gonzalez attacks Io, and then Rhea Ripley comes out, and they have a face off with each other. Um, Gonzalez backs down, and they walk off, and then eventually Shirai's music is playing, and Ripley leaves, and one is a good tease there is that where Io is facing the hard camera celebrating,
Right.
you had the hard camera have Io in the background, just slightly out of focus, was Rhea looking at Io, and there's history there. So there's all this going on. Uh, whether or not you get finally Rhea versus Io again, you have Rhea versus Raquel down the line, and you still got the Mercedes Martinez uh, there, that feud going, because there's no way that's over, just with that power bomb on Wednesday. So Rhea is in a little bit of a triple threat, if you will, storyline going here. So that gets her involved. There's pieces of everything, different things planted, which I like. So the interesting thing is, let's see where they go with Rhea. So Rhea's involved, so that's a good thing. Raquel Gonzalez, she's impressed me. I think as with you,
Yeah.
she's really got butter.
It's just interesting because for the last few weeks she has been feuding with Rhea has been feuding with
Mercedes.
yeah. So
And if Mercedes wasn't there, maybe you could say she's selling the power bomb on the
yeah,
cement.
yeah. So I'm not
She
expecting
didn't need to be there.
and also on top of that, you can kind of tell that they've been foreshadowing her possibly turning heel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see what the overall
Yeah,
direction.
and then at least there's some form of intrigue there. Whether it's going to be good or bad, there's at least we want to see where it goes. With Rhea, I'm always interested, and I really want to see her and just Gonzalez. Just those two look like a beast. They're like the biggest women in that division, and it could be really good. We'll see. Maybe it's too soon, but maybe down the line. And then we get to the main event. We have Keith Lee, NXT champion versus challenger, carrying Cross. And this was just a hard fought match. Just two heavyweights going. At least in the beginning, I guess the one criticism we had was Keith Lee, at least in the first half or so of the match, uh, was selling uh, his left, his right, his left arm. Yeah, his left arm.
which he forgot to sell that a lot of times in this match, which
And
was
then,
kind of
yeah,
it's like it's like hey guys, if you're going to sell that arm, sell it throughout the whole entire match. And like he would constantly he would constantly punch Karrion with that same arm.
he dragged Karrion over to the corner
Yeah,
with that left arm.
It's just simple things like that. I just wish that there
All he
was
had to do was drag him with the right.
It's just simple things, more attention to detail. I wish that they would have done, but the overmatch itself, this was a straight up fight. Like these guys,
As it should be.
as it should be. I do think it possibly went a tad too long.
It went about 20-ish.
Yeah, I would have liked if that was about say like 5 minutes shorter, but that's a very nitpicky.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it dragged.
No,
It wasn't like, oh, Jesus Christ.
yeah, but this was by far Gary's most competitive match. By far,
Yeah.
Keith Lee gave him hell. Like, and I just love and this is where to me Scarlett is clearly so much better than what like Lana was with Rusev is
Later
her facial expressions and how she's selling certain things. It just looks so much better to me, and I mean, her and Karrion are obviously perfect for each other.
Yeah.
But now with Karrion Kross as your new champion now, I'm very interested to see how long this is going to last because because we knew once he actually debuted, just with the gimmick and how much time they have devoted into both him and Scarlett, he's not going to be in NXT long, which is probably partially why they have completely fast tracked him to the very top because his whole persona is completely geared to Mondays and like Friday nights. And that's so clear, and I don't know how else that can be.
I'm just imagining that entrance, not just in Mania, but in the Thunderdome.
Yeah,
like that would look amazing.
Yeah, it's just like I mean, it's like you say to yourself, "There's no way that they can screw this up." But I've said this so many times about Vince when it came to so many guys such as Bray, Bob, Bobby Roode. I mean, like it's just Ascension. I mean, like they were so cool, man. Like Revival, they just completely just made them irrelevant.
Oh my God.
Dallas. Dallas was
probably still in the company.
yeah. I mean,
Jason Jordan
and Chad Gable. They were arguably the best tag team in NXT outside of Dash and Dawson.
Yeah, they came. Yeah, they were the precursors.
It just had some of the best tag matches consistently, and they made them out to like complete geeks. So I can say that now, but it's like you can't give Vince any benefit of the doubt because they have consistently proven that they don't know what to do with the guys that Triple H books, and when they eventually get that call, they either completely change everything or change something minor that actually
Viking Raiders.
Hell, even a Nakamura, just like I'm just like, why are you changing things that are already over?
Exceptions.
There are minor exceptions, but I'm trying.
McIntyre, Kevin Owens.
Yeah. That's probably it. I mean, Sasha maybe. Sasha.
Women were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could overall.
Asuka.
To be fair, they did keep the undefeated. They keep the undefeated streak. She won the Royal Rumble.
And then
she went down. She's back up.
Yeah.
But she's not like tossed away in a joke.
Kyrie Sane. Yes.
Yeah.
Kyrie Sane was.
At least she won a championship.
Yeah, but the point is, when they call these people, they need to have an actual plan for these people, and not just throwing them, and and, and not just having
I
I don't them sit such as a Bianca Belair, who has been basically in catering for about 6 months now.
She's been doing a little more stuff. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, finally. But it's just like if you're going to call these people up, Aleister Black is a great example. He was basically doing nothing for a full year. He was in some closet saying "fight me."
Ricochet.
Ricochet. Oh God, oh man, poor guy. Like for a fact, he cannot wait until
Apollo Crews.
Until lately. His problem was he was called out way too soon.
Yes, we were there.
We were there.
That was after Dallas.
I'm like, why are they calling him up? He was in NXT not even a full year.
That night it was Enzo and Cass when they were ready. Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin.
No, he was on like WrestleMania.
But I mean, for Raw, like that could have been that was the Battle Royal in any the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Like main roster debut was Corbin against Ziggler. I remember that. That was, and then obviously Karrion Kross, we said gets the win. And where Keith Lee goes, many have speculated the roster eventually.
It's coming sooner.
Yeah. Triple H confirmed that there's a draft way. That's
I feel like both like him and probably Adam Cole are pretty close now.
Yeah.
Because now, with Cole, they can probably, since he's a babyface, you can possibly do a single match with him and Karrion Kross. So I'm fine with that, but at the same time, I'm not dying to actually see that match. Some things are going to be interesting as far as NXT is concerned.
That could be a weekly show hype up.
Mm-hmm.
Next week is Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross.
I will say though, if both of those guys are gone, NXT's star problem it's going to be a major problem because then at that point, really the only major star that you have on that brand now is Karrion Kross. That would be my concern if both Keith Lee and Adam Cole were gone, just because they were such mainstays for so long on that brand. It's going to be really hard to find guys to take those spots where they were at there.
But I don't know if Triple H said that. I didn't see the quote. Listen to this. This is just strictly like reading
speculation.
Maybe somebody from the main roster, you could get drafted to NXT, bring somebody down.
Which I think would be a very good idea.
Who, I don't know, but it would be interesting.
Kevin Owens wouldn't be but yeah, that's something we will.
I don't believe it.
No, forget that. Unless you were doing him versus Ciampa, I would be slightly interested in it. But that's for
a couple people be interesting. Yeah, maybe. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So that was NXT. Great show as always. Always delivers. I don't recall ever one show we stopped watching. Like that was terrible.
No, they're at least very solid. But
yeah, there's always shows that you compare. Like, oh, one is good, but it's like that. It's still good.
Yeah.
So let's get into AEW Dynamite tonight. We have to check John's blood pressure after the show.
It's more so geared for the main event more than anything. I will say this: outside of that bullshit, and Jericho and like Pockets,
that's the two worst.
Those were the only two things I just absolutely hated on the show. Everything else had very good build that I am pretty excited about. But there's just small one or two things that they do sometimes that just really irk me. So obviously we'll get into
So the opening match was FTR with Tully Blanchard versus Private Party. I thought, um, from what I saw, this could have been Private Party's best match to date, or one of them.
Yeah, because you could tell FTR made a point to slow these guys down and just to like into like into like not just doing 10,000 moves constantly, which that was really good. They look pretty good here. I do think it went slightly a little bit too long, but that's a very a very minor thing there. But I had a feeling that eventually we were going to be seeing Tully with these guys. I'm perfectly fine with it. It like makes sense because obviously they are playing off with the segment with the with the with, from the tag team appreciation night. And I and that whole segment eventually layer that they did with Hangman, they're continuing to tease and 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 eventual four horsemen thing, which I'm perfectly fine with, but a very solid match. Um, and we also got actually we'll get into that later. So yeah, I'm solid match.
FTR gets the win via the Goodnight Express.
Mhm.
Then we get two promos from John Moxley and MJF.
Yeah, the these were great. Just as expected, just like MJF and like Mox are consistently the absolute best things every single week on these shows now. I mean, like they like MJF is in a freaking neck brace, is on a freaking walker, and he has his lawyer there. And like Moxley, him questioning, you know how tough he actually is. It's just these two dynamics work so perfectly, Matt. And like as you said, like they're easily some of the best things that happen every single week. Um, and I mean, I can't complain to say the least. There.
Yep.
Are we having any?
No, I just want to see how it sounds.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity,
Mhm.
where you were talking. Yeah, these were good. MGF, again, best thing on this show, in my opinion. Then we get another multi-man. Well, not another multi-man. It was a tag match before, but the first of two.
Mhm.
Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes with Jungle Boy versus Blade, the Butcher, Airbnb, and the Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. With the Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes winning with via a roll up on the Blade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the actual match itself, I didn't really care about. It just felt completely random. And the only thing that I really paid attention to was obviously Eddie Kingston coming down after I believe it was Jungle Boy who rolled up Blade
Yeah.
who had a small altercation with Pentagon Jr. I believe it was.
Yeah. Oh, this is a typo. I said Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, QT Marshall, and Dustin Rhodes with Jungle Boy. No crap. Whoever typed this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just saw it.
Okay. So 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 after that happened, we see Eddie Kingston come down. I was like, oh, what's this about? And it looks like we have another faction by this one, Matt, which is obviously Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Jay Blade, along with Pentagon and Phoenix, which just for the sole reason of Eddie Kingston cutting promos, I'm perfectly fine with this. At the same time, we are getting a little bit excessive with the fact, but also at the same time, I'm like, if there's a good reason to keep these guys together, and as we know, that Pentagon and like Phoenix are there. I mean, Pentagon's English, it's pretty pretty good with. I'm kind of surprised why they haven't had got any promos ever since ever since that that he has signed. But as far as Butcher and Blade is concerned, this is probably a pretty good idea. Just I mean they haven't been given any mic time, and just from some other things that I've seen on them, it's it's not a terrible thing. And Eddie Kingston is such a great promo guy. I mean, any way that you could get him on screen talking is a good
Yeah.
idea to me.
The thing that's interesting, I don't know if it's what I'm reading too much into it, but they go for the group hug, and Kingston looks at the camera and gives a smile and a wink.
Yeah.
I guess to interpret that as we have this group's going to kick a lot of ass, or
Or
I'm
he,
doing it for something else.
yeah, which that's interesting
Yes.
because I can tell you two guys I think would be perfect with him, and he was awesome with them over on like Impact, and that is Santana and Ortiz. Those three together were actually no, they were actually facing another incarnation of LAX. But those three guys would fit perfect together. And I think what would bring a much more serious, much more correct feeling, which as we saw with the inner circle tonight is would be greatly needed, greatly appreciated, based off of the bullshit that happened there. So
Yep.
so yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes with Eddie. It has potential. We'll see how this goes.
Then we get a promo with Britt Baker. She's in a gym with Reba and Finley Ford and Kip Sabian. They're off to the side kissing, and Britt's all complaining that about past diseases via saliva and all that. And she recruits, I think, both of them, or either Reba and whatever. She wants the special. She offers them Penelope Ford and Kip a special discount, couples discount, for like, it was something for like a year to get their teeth checked. And gave another discount to Penelope for something else. Makeup. Reba would do the makeup for a year. That helped with their match against Big Swole. Big Swole wanted a match, but never said what kind. So all out, Britt Baker says, "How about a handicap match?" Penelope agrees, and it apparently is a 3 versus 1 handicap match at All Out.
No, actually, it's actually happening next week. If you remember from the graphic, towards the end of
it is next week. That's right. Okay, that's right. And I'm shocked. There's a lot of matches.
The only thing I can think of as to why they're doing this is my guess is with Baker, she probably isn't cleared yet.
Probably.
So I am assuming she'll do very little, if anything.
She's still in the
right
wheelchair.
And to like she's only like 2 or 3 months removed from that. So yeah. I would not be surprised if they are trying to actually hold her off for the time being.
So the next segment, we have an interview with Orange Cassidy in the ring with Shivani. Of course, Cassie doesn't say anything, but Jericho comes out with, I guess, some bubbly. Pretty much says they each have one win. They need a rubber match to see who's the better man. Jericho says he has a great idea for a match. He's the one that came up with the Money in the Bank ladder match. So they had a video package to debut the idea of the Mimosa Mayhem match, where their only way to win is by pinfall, submission, or tossing your opponent into a tank of that 80 gallons of orange juice and mixed with 500. I think it says here 500 cases of the bubbly. Uh, and Cassie accepts with the thumbs up, and Inner Circle comes out. They do a toast, and then they beat up on Orange Cassidy. So yeah, you have the Mimosa Mayhem match. I don't know why. You know what would be stupid if the match ends with pinfall or submission and nobody gets dumped in the thing.
Yeah, I mean, like when you book something like that, which this is straight out of the freaking Russo playbook.
I want somebody to defend this.
Yeah, like if there is someone, it won't be me. It's just like I love this company. I mean, I'm hoping that they succeed. By God, when they book shit like this, it just like reinforces what the friggin' haters, aka Jim Cornette, say. This, like they have made Chris Jericho, who was the best thing
what I've been saying
on this show for the longest time, and now he's a freaking joke right now. Like
he started down the comedy bullshit back in the Stadium Stampede, and that was my concern, and it's just been constant comedy bullshit since then. I missed the Jericho when the show first started with the Inner Circle. That was badass. He was just great. Now we're left with a Mimosa Mayhem match.
And also too, we are now overexposing Orange Cassidy, which that was also my concern. After
I'll give you the first. You know what? In hindsight, I'll give you the first match.
Mm-hmm.
I'll live with the first match.
The second and third match, like it just did not need to happen.
No, the second one.
What they did with Jericho and Jungle Boy, that was perfect.
Yes.
It went 10 minutes. That's all that needed to happen. Why they
was back in the day, back when Jericho was
right. Like why they needed to do a full out feud with these guys, which is completely unnecessary.
I would like to see the Corleys best.
Even without this, like they're going to do really bad just with all of the competition from the
Takeover,
from Takeover and the NBA alone.
So, regardless of what their overall numbers are, just specifically compared to the rest of the show, this segment. We would do the same thing if WB did this, but if WB did this thing,
I'd be bearing it too.
People would be saying, "I'm done watching WWE. I screw this company. I do something to this." There better be just outraged. Well, people do that. People still watch. If WB did it, I still would watch. If AEW has done it, I'm still going to watch. We're still going to watch because there's.
But at the same time, though, AEW has done a lot of extremely good things, whereas WWE has a lot of shit things too at the same time. So it's like, can you filter out the stupid shit?
To be fair, both companies have done good things. Both companies have done crap things. Maybe WWE
Strowman versus Bray Wyatt.
Well, Bray's okay thing, but here, Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Touche.
Again, like it's just god, like as soon as I thought that's, it's like, oh no.
Here's a good thing. Good thing with the WWE. Orton and build with McIntyre and even with Edge. Good stuff. AEW, MJF, and just MJF. Give me MJF and Moxley. I like it. There's some good stuff. That's the problem. There's no, even for both companies, there's no. I can forgive you if there's something silly once in a while.
Yeah.
For pay for a cool down or thing. But there's between each company now, there's no consistent of quality overall.
I would disagree with that just because, to me, in my opinion, I'm dying. And I'm even on the stupid shit that happens every single week, they give me at least 2 or 3 things that I that I extremely like. Whereas WWE more so on like Mondays and Fridays, I just can't take anything away from those shows that I'm like excited about. So that's kind of where I separate the two. Unlike Cornette, like if he sees one small thing that's like shit, that's terrible, he will like just group it all together and the whole show just being shit. Which that is where I disagree from.
See,
But now I'm just I mean like
I
I mean like I just don't know how fans are going to react to this. And then unless unless you are a hardcore AEW guy or girl, like it's just like I don't know how you can defend this. Like it's like like hell. Even after the second match, I was like, okay. So if they do a third match, if they just do a street fight, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But if they do something really gimmicky, that's stupid, that doesn't need to really happen, that's when we're going to have problems.
well, guess what happened?
Yeah, and
Based on the orange juice.
yep, it's just like from the orange juice path that they were gimmicking that off like Austin and like Vince there. It's just stuff I don't want to see, and we constantly talk about the stupid crap that happens over on WWE, and this is not helping. I guarantee you, most of the people on my timeline probably hate this.
I would
I didn't check.
how
I
a
completely
rational person that's
yeah,
not like
I completely avoided all social media tonight, except for like one or two small instances, which spoil. Which
I kind of you know what? I'm mad. I kind of wish you weren't spoiled for at
oh
least
oh god, that would have been terrible. But so yeah,
and I was I'm sorry. I was manning the Twitter
mhm,
account because of Takeover, and I wasn't I at that time I don't remember seeing much in the way
right.
of what people's reaction was. Um, so I can't really speak. Um, but I don't think it was all. I
Mhm.
didn't see overwhelming positivity. Um, I also like to look at what other people who have much more business expertise have. That's why later when I go home, I'm going to watch, and I always plug them, Wrestling League's post show, especially because Matt Morgan is on, and Sam Adonis was on tonight. For those who don't know, the brother of Corey Graves, um, local boy here in Pittsburgh. Um, so I like to see people. I like to see different perspectives, both those two wrestlers, and as much as John doesn't like, and there's a lot of stuff. A couple stuff I don't agree with him, but Cornette, the people who are in the business just to see different opinions. Because who am I? Who are we in the grand scheme of the business?
Not a senile old fuck.
What about Vince?
Well, yeah.
Well, I don't think Cornette's senile. I think
He just said
he's
that
old school
he just said that freaking Sonya and Mandy Rose should be fired because
they're hanging out.
yes, yeah.
He's old school. I mean, I don't agree with it, but he's old school.
It's one thing to take them off of TV, but to fire them, I'm like,
I didn't say I agree with it. I didn't say I agree with it. But there's some stuff that says stuff and points stuff out that in the moment, watching stuff I don't see, and I go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I can see where you're coming from.
mhm.
And other stuff like the Sonya stuff, I'm like,
Yeah, like you really should have shut that down.
or how women's wrestling doesn't draw. It should be a main event.
Yeah, that I, I I disagree with, but I do agree with like as far as like a draw, he's not completely wrong about that as much as that will definitely trigger people.
I think not all. I think it's more. I think it's
Unless you're Ronda Rousey, of course, then
well, they pulled off for Mania because it is Ronda Rousey and
exactly.
there was a decent build and people were behind it.
Mhm.
But
It
I
was
think
the only thing that should have made
yes,
that should like
yeah,
like, it was the hottest thing going into the show.
yeah,
Yeah,
by far. Yes.
like,
There's no doubt. Pick me, find something another match on that card and say defend how that's not supposed.
and as
Defend
hot
that.
as Kofi was at that time, he was nothing to what Becky
I,
was.
I think if that match wasn't that triple threat wasn't a thing, if that would be a good way to close the show with that would be a good visual close with Kofi winning. But you can't be. You're not beating. You weren't going to beat that triple threat.
Becky
There's
was
no way.
I mean, Becky was so wide hot at that point. There
You
was
have Wanda.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
not beating that.
Which I'm still mad that they had to add Charlotte into the freaking match.
Yeah, I accepted it and it was okay. Because it was all right. And one last point. Crap, what was I going to say? Oh, on the women thing. That I think women are more draws at this point in time than years back.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Comparatively,
Yeah.
because think of
the only other comparisons you can probably make is a Trish and Lita.
Yeah, but they were like the exception rather than
Yeah,
the rule.
like
Because back then, when you had bra and panties, pillow fight, like they weren't taken seriously. More so, like
hell, like
people liked them, but it wasn't.
Gail Kim has talked about that, like nauseam, how much it just killed the confidence as a wrestler. It's like those matches. I mean, when we look back at them,
You look back now, it's like, oh Christ,
it's embarrassing. Although it fit for the times, but
I mean, unfortunately,
it fit the times. But it's just when a lot of people look on
can't do that now.
No, it's just and yeah, it's just I mean, hell, like 75 to 80% of what they did back then.
Early TVs, like yay, bikini, lingerie. Now, if that happened now, the company would be crucified.
Well, especially with all their sponsors there, and
Yeah.
So after the freaking comedy shit, there. What's
Three,
next?
3 Dark Order members, 3, 4, and 5, I think. Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and Alan Angels versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I did not give a single crap about this match. The only thing that's interesting is we're seeing Kenny is getting more and more aggressive, is getting more and more pissed, which I like. We're starting to see more of the serious Kenny, more of the cleaner, which is something I've been wanting for a very long time. And I definitely think this is coming to a head, and just judging on what was announced in the backstage segment here, which we'll probably get into
next.
Yeah,
we can transition into it.
So for next week, it was announced we're going to be having a gauntlet match to determine who's going to be facing Kenny Omega and Hangman Page at All Out.
Rank 1 through 4, like it matters. But apparently here, we totally missed this, or at least I did. The Natural Nightmares will start out against the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
That winner gets the Best Friends, and then the winner of that gets FTR, and the final team standing faces Page and Omega at All Out. Which I would be completely shocked and pissed if it's not FTR.
Have to, because it's the only story that they have been really pushing, and to me, like, they're the only tag team I feel really needs those titles right now. Bucks, they don't need those titles. Best friends, who cares? And obviously,
I just thought something. I didn't think of it now, and this is when the rankings actually make sense, because you have number 4, 3 start out, and number 1 is last.
Yep.
Which tiny detail, I do appreciate that.
Yep.
I think if there was no rankings, it'd be interesting to see FTR start out and just go through everybody. But based on rankings, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I love the interaction that they had totally, and especially with Hangman, because you can clearly tell Hangman loves being around those guys. I do think that they're just starting to put in more senses of, like, doubt into Hangman as to why he should be around anyone of the elite because too, if you recall, when he lost against Jericho, like, he,
Who's this?
um, uh, look at Hangman.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
when he lost against Jericho, he just basically he stopped being a part of the elite. He was going out on his own, and his whole thing was, "I don't want to be lost in the shuffle," and that was a Cash and Dax telling him, it was like, "Hey, like, you left them because basically you did not want to be in their shadow." So I think this is completely geared towards Hangman needs to be involved with these 2. Like, to me, that is where I'm hoping that it goes, but at the same time, that might be a little bit more predictable because I just don't know if you can have Hangman as a heel because clearly Dax and Cash are heels right now, and especially you involve Tully Blanchard, you these guys are heels. So,
I
I'm very interested to see how this story goes.
you can I can see maybe if Hangman turns heel and Kenny is a face,
Mhm.
but, like, more serious as a face
Right.
and more pissed off. But another nice touch that I was when I think we were distracted about something, or I at least I was, 'cause I remember part of this, but it didn't hit me until I'm
Yeah.
reading it now. Harwood said he faked the knee injury because he wanted to see who he really trusts,
Yep.
and when he went to the back, um, 2 guys went with him. It was his partner, Wheeler, and Page,
Yep.
and as we're reading this now, this thing, that's a nice touch.
Yep.
Um, a nice little part of the story
Mhm.
here, which I like.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, and too, it's pretty clear they've been building on this
yeah,
for so long, which I appreciate. They're actually building a long-term story,
yeah,
which we don't see enough of, that I can appreciate. And and I'm very interested to see how this all, pans out once All Out is over because to me, All Out is when they need to take those tag titles off of Hangman
yes.
and
You
Kenny,
are
and they need to put Kenny and Hangman back into singles. Like, to me, not having those 2 guys who are arguably 2 of your biggest singles guys not involved in there, it's been really shown,
mhm,
and especially Kenny, it's just like, yeah, he's been awesome. Hell, like, the things him and Hangman have done for the tag team divas because if you recall when, I believe it was Kaz and Daniels and Scorpio Sky were tag champions, no one gave a crap about the tag team
yeah,
division.
yeah,
Just like and it's nothing against them, it's just they were not interesting. Whereas Kenny and Hangman, they were having really good matches, and 2, the storylines involved with the Bucks and before this whole pandemic happened, I feel like that they were definitely doing Hangman versus Kenny at some point. But obviously, with everything that happened, that obviously changed everything. So,
mm,
so yeah, it's been really well done. But
yeah. I mean, uh, yeah, for the most overall, I think it was good. Maybe some spots overall in the story, maybe at least I look back, maybe not the best, but overall, at least the little stuff I think was good is good for overall as a long term story in AEW. Then we get Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs, um, with Darby getting the win after the coffee drop.
which, like, by the way, Will Hobbs has something.
Yes,
Definitely, he looks
good.
good. He's really athletic. Really performed well here. I would like to see this be something for him. Um, I mean, like, hell, like, these 8, like, extras that AEW has. I mean, hell, we, recall from, like, Anna Jay, who's now in the Dark Order now, um, Lee Johnson, and, like, MJF. he was in his cabinet, and his smiling secretary, which is by far the most hilarious thing, part of there. You know, this is a good way for AEW to develop their own homegrown guys and girls. So, I would definitely would like to see them, at a future date, but, man, man, anything Owen has, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, um, I'm always excited about. Ricky Starks continues to prove, how much of the package that 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 he is. He's one of the few young guys that this company has where he can talk. Like, you just give him a freaking microphone and just have him talk, and he will get it. Just he's far too talented, has too much personality, too much charisma, really good worker. I mean, I've been a fan of this guy since he was in the NWA. So, like, he offers you a lot, and now, um, I'm guessing I'm not sure if they're doing Darby versus Cage or Darby versus Ricky Starks,
I
so
feel like it Starks the way they've been
yeah,
building this.
yeah, like, and to me, I'm fine with either one, but to me, if they do him versus Ricky Starks needs to go over.
Ricky's the one that was they came out dressed as him mocking him
Yeah,
before the attack, and Brian Cage hit him from behind with the title. So I don't see why it wouldn't be Starks.
right.
I think that would be better because both similar size and
Mhm.
just looks better. Then they unfortunately during picture-in-picture break, Hardy starts attacking Sammy, who was coming out with his cue cards. Why they did
Ye
during picture-in-picture,
Yeah,
I
I
have
got
no.
if you're going to run a freaking angle, how about do it, like, when you're not in picture there? I just and, like, they freaking very start, I'm asking myself, since they haven't done it so long, why they are reverting back just makes no sense to
Unless
me.
they were rushing against time because at least in the beginning, there were, like, no entrances.
Yeah, I mean, and
I
that
I get I get the first match, but
yeah,
this
like, it's like they packed up these shows so much to where, like, some of these matches don't need to happen. Like, for example, we did
was
not
long.
we did not need to see, the freaking Dark Order versus the Elite. That was unnecessary, taking up time. Hell, even FTR versus Private Party to a certain extent, just because, um, I guess I'm fine with that though too, just because of the association with Tully Blanchard. They wanted to really, introduce that there, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's that one's okay. So they fight, and I think he hits Sammy with a chair, and then throws Sammy off stage and through a table at the ring announcers
mhm,
area. Um, Matt tries to get the chair, or at least the same type of chair Sammy used to hit Matt in the head, but the referees come out, stop Hardy, and carry Sammy off out of the way. Then you popped for the announcement of NWA Women's Champion Thunder
yeah,
Rosa stepping or challenging Cheetah for the AEW Women's Championship.
yep,
Yes, All Out, apparently, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, All
I
Out.
freaking love this. Like, outside of Tessa Blanchard, this is to me the best signing, potentially that AEW can do because Thunder offers everything that this company needs. Someone who they legitimately build this whole division around, and doing her versus Cheetah. I mean, like, it makes so much sense. There, she doesn't have any contenders, so I say let's freaking do it. Have this thing stretch out for as long as you need to, because by God, this this women's division here needs a ton of work, as we have said. But this is a very good first step here, man. I just she cut a very good promo here. Like she has the charisma, she has the intensity. She's obviously a very, very good worker as well. So yeah, I am very excited to see how she
I
does.
I really haven't seen much of her or really heard of her before, maybe in passing, so I'm interested.
Yeah, she's been really good in NWA. So,
I don't even watch.
which 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 now she would be the I believe the he like third person to come over because like r- because Ricky Starks came over from there, and so did Eddie Kingston as well. So I mean, I kind of had a feeling more people were going to eventually that more people were going to eventually come just because of the whole pandemic and obviously independence not not like really running shows too.
Yep.
So that hasn't helped them.
And then we get the finals of the Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament Finals. Uh, Ivelisse and Diamante versus Brandy Rhodes and Ali with Ivelisse and Diamante getting the win.
Yeah, okay match.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, if I'm being perfectly honest about this tournament, it's been very underwhelming. I can completely understand why they just did not did not have the whole tournament shown on their weekly show. Just a lot of girls were just not ready for TV, and that was very apparent. But but this was okay. Obviously, Eve and Diamante over was the absolute right call here. I'm going to assume that probably both of these ladies are probably signed or they are going to be signed here soon. Yeah, so I would at some point we're going to be getting Eve versus versus Shido or someone down the line. But I'm glad that they are not doing women tag titles. I mean, like I said, it's from the very start. You're going
Half
to
number.
if focus singles division first until you actually have a legitimate women's division. There's no reason whatsoever to even think about doing a tag team. Hell, even in WWE, they have stacked women's roster, and they don't have tag teams. So it's like,
Well, in general, I keep saying just in women's tag team and industry, there is nobody does women's tag teams. So I'm kind of shocked. I say give it 10 years when there's going to be more consistent, just strictly women's tag teams because you have like like legit tag teams throughout the company. They're actual teams.
Mhm.
And so I guess eventually down the line, I say give it 10 years at least to get companies and actual women's tag team going. But yeah, and then I don't know. So at the end, they're celebrating the Ram. They got like freaking huge discus medals around, and I don't know why Medusa was there. She kind of just stood there, and
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure why they even brought her in if she wasn't going to
she
really
did,
do
yeah.
anything. That was just
And then
that
didn't
seemed
even
horrible.
touch the trophy.
No,
Um,
that
they
just seemed
they did the conference final hockey thing. Don't touch
yeah.
it.
That was very
Medusa didn't put the medals on the refs, right? Because they
yeah
okay.
because
I
the
don't want
refs
to criticize Medusa. If I would have gave Medusa to do that at
yeah
least because she kind of just was there.
that just it seemed really unnecessary
On it,
there.
yeah, but at least it's a name. But there was to me it didn't make a damn difference.
No,
Um, before we get to the event, next week's Dynamite on Thursday at 8. Britt Baker, Reba, and Penelope Ford versus Big Swole. Natural Nightmares versus the Young Bucks versus Best Friends versus FTR in that tag team gauntlet. Um, for number one contenders match, basically. Chris Jericho's on commentary. Matt Hardy and Guevara in a tables match, in a contract signing for MJF and John Moxley. Um, based on that, should be a way better show than tonight. Um, and now we get the main event for the AEW TNT Championship. Brody Lee, excuse me, Mr. Brody Lee versus Cody. With Brody Lee pretty much dominating Cody
pretty much, and
to win the AEW TNT Championship.
yeah, pretty much an extended squash match, which I just did not understand this at all. Cody was going through everybody, and I get it with Brody Lee. His only loss has been against John Moxley, which is fine, but this just felt like completely out of nowhere that they were really hard on this just to have a freaking title change because they were up against Takeover. Like I think
By that, almost too late.
yeah, and on top of that, like just how over the top this whole thing was with the whole stretcher and
They put the oxygen mask
through
on
the
him.
oxygen mask and then having his wife come out.
Wait. He had to do this.
Right. And I'm just like, oh my god,
He didn't die.
I mean, like you would thought that he got ran over by a freaking car or something. I'm
Fell 20 feet.
right.
It's
It's just
30 feet.
and this has been one of my criticisms. Of how they book Cody. And serious thing is, they go so over the top with everything, whether it's with his entrances or in this case, I mean, just what this was done here. I'm just like, it was really necessary.
I'm okay. Well, I'm okay with the entrance. I'm fine with because based on that, and maybe the bad comparison, but if Cody can come up from under the ring, from under the stage, and do that thing, then Karen Crush and get every freaking thing.
Yeah.
I'm entrances out of all the stuff you said. That's fine. It's an entrance for me. But yeah, the over the thumbs up and the stretcher, I don't know if it was just I could live with just the stretcher, but that's even too far. But the oxygen mask and the thumbs up, it was too much. And then he hits him with I guess the remnants of the old belt, which apparently was cheaply made because it broke apart based on the cranium. I would think I guess it's mainly the plates, or looked like, I don't know, I don't doubt it was a strap, but I'm thinking if you did get that first title done and it was legit and not plastic or more metal, and it just broke over into pieces with Cody's head, that was, yeah. And then Randy comes out and basically, that makes sense, that help protect Cody, but he kind of just lays on top of him like expressionless. Your husband is, even though is pretty much laying there dead. Like, I would not just lay on top of him like a dog.
Yeah,
I would check on him in a way that
shows some sort of concern,
cheer, cry, do something.
It's like the more I see Randy, the more I see she should not be on TV. It's just you can I don't think people understand. This is why WWE had her nothing but a ring announcer. It's just she isn't that good. It's not to disrespect her. It's just she just doesn't.
I don't matter as a talent, but what she was doing in the company, Night and Out Collective, that whole thing was bad. If she's coming strictly as a manager with Cody, I have no problem with that.
With Valley, that's fine.
That is fine. Maybe down the road, eventually, if she works at it more, and I can't wrestle, but as a wrestler, maybe she's not the best right now, but maybe down the line, I'll give you, that's fine. I mean, it's me critiquing a wrestler. I would use my breath climbing in the ring probably. But it's just the little things in this segment. It was just it
completely unnecessary.
when when this when you get the reaction you got, it's almost like me with something in WWE. Like if I said it was bad and it is, but for like when I get beat up, when you had that reaction, what you did before we came on the air watching this, then I know it's at least most of the people on our timeline really think it's bad. It I don't know. It was I don't know. It just did not work for me and obviously didn't work for you.
And and I will say that they're trying to put over Strong with the Dark Order. I get it. But, I mean, to have Brody win in essentially, what, 5 or 7 minutes, and just Cody basically getting 0 offense into 2
Maybe
days.
that's the very beginning.
And, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, obviously, this is going to happen at All Out. And I gotta think Cody's probably winning back his title.
I would be even more. Why make the change?
I mean, like, I strictly think they just did this just to
If he wins it.
I mean, like, it will not surprise me. I it would not surprise me at all if Cody wins back his title because just with all of the aspects that they went through with this, they should believe it's very Flair-esque with, like, Vader, which, like, he got his ass kicked and, like, his whole career was being questioned, like, "Oh, is this going to be it for him?" I think they're pulling a little bit of that back from WCW, and this is where I think you see Cody, win back the title, and then this was proved to be a colossal waste of time with Brody Lee, and if that were to happen, he would have 2 really bad losses, and granted, they were against probably 2 of the probably of the 2 top guys in the company right now between, between Moxley and Cody, but it's just
I would you're building up Dark Order, you're trying to, where there's minions constantly lose in tag matches, with the exception like we talked about earlier with Brody Lee and Colt Cabana, which was he even here on the show tonight?
No, Colt he was there. Oh, we also forgot to talk about too, Anna Jay, with her submission on Brain, which I like that because clearly none of the guys are going to even touch Brandy there.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But I would be okay if Cody was still doing his open challenge, lining up right, then Brody Lee came out, and then if he won, if you build this all up and then he comes and destroys Cody. To me, I can buy that more than what they did.
Oh yeah, because basically this was
a surprise. Holy crap! It's Brody Lee and he killed Cody.
This was a 1-week build. Now this was a 1-week build, which it's just like if this happened in WWE, we would be tearing.
Everybody would be
like
we're doing it now. I gotta be objective,
especially too. Like he was defending that title every single week. He's been champion since Double or Nothing. So basically, what almost 4 months, and that's how he loses. I mean, who has Brody beaten too in that time? As far as from, he's been mostly involved in tag matches. Since
his one-on-one match, or at least high profile, was against Moxley, right?
Yeah,
he lost.
Yeah, so it's just like
trying the big men. AEW.
I mean, it's just like they could have done this so much better to where it made more sense. Like if you're Cody or whoever, if this was Cody's idea, I mean, if this was your idea, man, what were you thinking?
If it was, I'm surprised Cody didn't go in and go, "What?"
Exactly. It's just like it's just none of this.
I want to know who booked that
because two, especially especially if Cody was back, then what was the whole point of this then? Other than to just pop a title chain when you were going up against Takeover.
If you're gonna do it, let this Brody Lee destroy people and hold it for a while.
Yes.
Let it just go
To me,
all out with it.
Brody Lee needs to hold that title for a while. And to me, a guy who I would have him eventually beat Brody Lee would be a guy in a Hangman Page. Either Hangman Page or Kenny or someone else. Like but now that you have done this now, you need to
No turning back.
no turning back.
If he loses, if it's first title defense,
Mhm.
it's a rematch against Cody at All Out next month, right? In September, right?
Yep.
Then it makes Brody Lee look worse or more than he was.
Oh yeah, like I
don't buy Dark Order at freaking all.
and especially too, if you're trying to get these guys over, you need the aftermath of this needs to be done. Since now you were committed to this, you need to go all the way with it because if they just have Brody when they tell back, this is some WWE shit that they could.
Brody win the title back. You said Brody win the title back.
Oh,
But I
sorry.
get your minute.
Okay, yeah. So, like, I pray that is not what they do, but again, I'm not surprised just because I mean, it just based on how things in wrestling have gone. I mean, we've seen this happen on way too many occasions. So, yeah, we'll see how all of that transpires. But now we have 2 more Dynamites before All Out, which is hard to believe. But as like Matt said, next show looks a lot better
On paper, yes.
on paper. Just with that contract signing alone.
Yeah, I want to see that
with MJF and AEW World Champion John Moxley. That should be really good. And as we look at the card now, so we got obviously
Moxley and MJF.
MJF. We're probably getting Darby first. Ricky's
Probably.
Ricky Starks. I would imagine Brody Lee.
Shocked.
Would imagine Brody Lee versus Cody. It should be FTR versus Hangman.
You're calling me shocked.
Yeah.
So
those 3 or 4 matches. Oh, and like Shida versus Thunder Rosa. Really
good potential.
Just based on the card on paper, All Out should be a really fun show. It's like I'm like on paper right now. It's got major potential. And obviously they have some undercard matches. One of which I'm not looking forward to whatsoever is probably Best Friends versus LAX.
They've been going into that.
But yeah, the card.
I would start that card right there. I think that's plenty enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, Orange Cassidy and Jericho there. So I mean, like, if that's the only thing that I'm not crazy about, I'm fine with that then because to me, if 7 out of the 8 matches are pretty good, to me that constitutes as a pretty good show.
For me, it's 6 out of 8 because LAX and Best Friends. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the card itself, it's looking pretty good, and based on how that went, could boost the company because they have a lot of long-term stories happening here. The stuff with MJF and Mox and obviously FDR Hangman Kenny. So all things are going to start to see their conclusions here as we go into a while.
Yep. So yeah, I think anything else on Dynamite?
Nope. I think that should about do us for the
show. Thanks everybody. I know this is late, especially on the East Coast, depending on where you're watching. So we're going just about to be an hour and a half here live on the air. So thanks everybody for watching. So tomorrow is SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, which you're not going to see coming. The tagline. We're going to be on right after that, a couple minutes after SummerSlam goes off the air, to give our reactions to that. Should be interesting, to say the least, good or bad. Then we will be on Thursday after Dynamite to give our thoughts about NXT the night before on Wednesday, and obviously Dynamite.
I cannot wait until AEW is back on its regular time because I'm sick of doing these live streams at freaking late.
Yeah, it's 12:20.
Yeah.
We would be way done if it was just NXT.
Yeah.
So we have that.
It's Saturday, so fine. It's just when
I was watching at 12:20 morning. Not many, apparently one person. So we have that. That's probably going to be on maybe 15 minutes after Dynamite goes on the air. It's probably still 10:15. Or I don't think there's NBA on that day.
No, that's why.
Why it's Thursday.
Or if they do, it might be on ESPN. I don't think that they have anything on that day.
I just saw that they move AEW to today. It was still delayed. And so goes sports.
Nothing that she can really do about that. And one thing before we stop here, people were making fun of AEW because they were getting preempted. I'm like, hey guys, I'm not sure if you do this or not. Same thing happened to WCW when they were running wild back then. So can we stop the freaking narrative of the company is freaking dying and shit? Like that stuff is really
SmackDown has done that all the time.
Exactly. So it's just like
on UPN or whatever the hell.
Exactly. So let's stop.
That's a stupid argument. Like they get it's one thing. You get preempted. One thing is, we're just not going to air this.
NXT is getting preempted because of hockey.
I still don't know how they're going to be in the USA Network in the second round. It's usually just NBCSN.
Yeah.
But I guess this year's different, obviously. But anyways, that's get off track. So that's our schedule for next week. As always, the podcast every Saturday. At least we know already a week out that it happened today. We got some DC news and movies and video games and all that stuff. So we're going to be talking about that. Unfortunately, it happened the day of today's podcast, so we're going to be a week out, but we're going to discuss that. Yeah. So that's coming up next Saturday. Definitely. So for John, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching this live stream. And we'll be back